Well, ladies and gentlemen, we just saw the Sixers finishing off their game against the Phoenix Suns, and although we did not see our star players that we are accustomed to seeing on a night in and night out basis, I saw some things that I like, and most importantly of all, I saw some fight. Let's talk about the Sixers versus the Suns. Let's get it. What is going on, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. It is your boy El Parcero Philly United of all things sports and culture here in the beautiful city of Philadelphia. Today, it's about the Sixers facing off against the Suns. Tuesday afternoon game. It was a nice early afternoon game for us Sixers fans, and of course, we all knew going into this game. We knew that Joel Embiid would not play, but we weren't sure the extent of how many starters we would get in the starting lineup against the Suns. And then we knew about the Suns; they were hot going into this game, 6-0 thus far down in Orlando, and they have been playing somewhat possessed. You've seen Devin Booker on Instagram talking about Kobe Bryant and what Kobe Bryant has meant to him, and he's really channeled his inner Mamba mentality. And he's been playing like Kobe. He's truly been playing like Kobe. He's been carrying this Phoenix Suns team. And the thing in with the Suns is that we saw this in the beginning of the year with this team, and they kind of dipped off a little bit, but now there's still a chance. Even though the Portland Trailblazers, who we played before the Suns, look a little bit better than the Suns, they're still fighting, and you got to really commend the Phoenix Suns. So what were we going to see against this Phoenix Suns team that was hungry and have one objective in mind, and that is making the playoffs in that super tough, super tight Western Conference that we have seen and we have been accustomed to the past couple of years? And I'll tell you one thing: thank God the Sixers are in the Eastern Conference, because we would not make it in the Western Conference. But before we dive into this game deeply, guys, real quick, I just wanted to say, if you could, it would truly mean the world to me, guys, if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button for notifications, as well as sharing this video and this channel to help continue the growth of your favorite parcero, me. And also, don't forget that El Parcero Philly is a proud member of Philly Sports Network. Head on over to Philly Sports Network for all your Philly sports needs, from the Sixers all the way to the Eagles, the Flyers, the Phillies, the Union, the Fusion, the Wings, all our college sports. Shouts out to my Temple fans out there. We got you all covered on Philly Sports Network, so I will leave a link in the description below so you guys can check out PSN. But let's get into it, guys. So no start. All, 4 out of our 5 starters in our lineup were out in this game, right? So no JoJo, no Toby, no Al, no Josh. So instead, what we got was Shake Milton still at the point guard. We got Alec Burks, Matisse Thybulle, Tobias Harris. I'm sorry, not Tobias Harris. Mike Scott, shouts out to Mike Scott. How I know y'all were partying last night after the game. And we had Kyle O'Quinn. Kyle O'Quinn, kind of a forgotten man in the rotation these days. He got to start at center. A lot of people, including myself, did not have any high expectations for the Sixers going to this game, but they actually did show us a little bit of something, guys. Especially, we're talking about a Devin Booker who in 6 games has averaged 31 points. We talked about it. He is absolutely on fire, guys. The thing is that although we haven't truly been impressed by the Sixers and their play thus far in Orlando, they still have a playoff spot, right? They're still in the dance, and really, I think at this point, what Brett Brown and the Sixers care more about is making sure that they're walking into this playoffs with as healthy of a squad as possible. Like, we've already been unfortunate with losing Ben Simmons for the rest of this tournament, essentially. Joel Embiid got hurt against the Trailblazers, so you want to make sure that he's nice and fresh. You want to make sure, Al Horford's getting up there in age. You're definitely going to need him with no Ben Simmons. You want to make sure Tobias Harris is going to be one of your leading scorers to be healthy, and same thing with Josh Richardson. So I understood why Brett Brown sat some of these players, even though you don't feel confident about the Sixers going into the playoffs with the performances that they've been giving you down in Orlando in these 8 regular season games to finish out the regular season. Now, as far as some of the Suns' performances, First off, Devin Booker, like we knew he was going to put up numbers, but we weren't sure how many points he was going to put up. And he started off slow, which we'll get to in a second. A player in particular did a good job of sticking on with Devin Booker, making his job a little bit harder. But in the second half, he turned it up. He started pulling away. He would end the game with 35 points. Devin Booker is a special, special player, and he's one of the few players that I would package a deal to get him. But look, it's gonna be. I'm actually gonna be really interested to see if he can actually get this team into the playoffs because the way Portland's playing right now, I don't think there's a shot that the Suns make the playoffs. But they still have to be really proud of their performance thus far in Orlando. Dario Saric and Mikal Bridges, 1 point. Both of these players were Sixers players. Obviously, Dario, it's a player that I wish we still had right now. Like it would be great. It would be awesome to have him coming off the bench right now, right? But you had to trade him away in order to get Jimmy Butler here in Philly, and it was what it was. The Jimmy Butler thing did work for a year, and unfortunately, Dario really hasn't been able to find the same rhythm. He hasn't been the same player since he's been in Philly. And with the Suns, he's been back and forth in the rotation, but it seems like he has solidified a role coming off the bench. He did have 18 points in this game. He knew he wanted to turn up for Philly, and something tells me he would like to come back to Philly too. Michael Bridges is a touchy topic with the Sixers fans, and I completely understand. Back in 2018. We literally had him for what seems to be 5 to 10 minutes. He was a Sixer for 5 to 10 minutes, and then Brett Brown, who was the GM for a short period of time, traded him away to the Suns for Zaire Smith. Oh man, Zaire Smith. And then we got the Miami Heat 2021 first round pick, which at the time looked good. And I was like, Brett Brown, you probably got a steal with Zaire Smith, and you probably got a top 5 pick in the 2021 NBA draft. I thought that we won that trade, but then you fast forward 2 years later, it looks like we have lost that trade. Zaire Smith. I don't even know his role is going to be with the Sixers in the future. I don't even know if he has a future in the NBA. And that 2021 Miami Heat pick looks like it's a dud because the Heat obviously have turned it around. They have drafted really well, have developed really well, and of course they signed Jimmy Butler. And so yeah, that draft pick really is not going to be anything. So obviously, when you see Mikal Bridges is becoming a good, solid role player for the Suns, and he put up 24 points against us, he was gonna come. Like, listen, we traded him away. He wanted to play in Philly. His mother played or works for the Sixers. I'm sorry. He went to college ball in Villanova, literally right in the Sixers' backyard. He wanted to play here in Philly, and he was really upset that we traded him away. Very understandable. He came here ready and prepared to play against the Sixers. He played motivated. So you really just praise the player, and you can't really come at the organization for past decisions that happen. Even though, with hindsight 2020, that was a bad move. And I'm not even going to mention the names that we could have had instead of Zaire Smith in 2018. Maybe Dante DiVincenzo or Redding's own Lonnie Walker. Even Aaron Holiday looks solid for the Pacers. What about Jalen Brunson? A Nova kid. A solid backup for the Mavs. How about Devontae Graham? A sleeper. A lot of people slept on him, but he's playing really good with the Charlotte Hornets. But I'm not going to mention any of those players. But let's move on, guys. Ricky Rubio also had a good game here. 16 points, 10 assists. You know Ricky Rubio is Mr. Dime Man himself. He is good at dropping the dimes, and he had a solid performance. And he's a great creator for the Phoenix Suns. When you can get a good creator like Ricky Rubio, who knows how to play the point guard position to the T, you can slide over Devin Booker. That's really a big difference for the Phoenix Suns, having Devin Booker just shooting at will essentially. The AI role. All right, let's talk about our starting lineup. So starting at point guard, Shake Milton, no surprise again. He got the start at the point guard position. He was the only starter that was available and ready to play. And he ended the game with 6 points, 7 assists, and 2 boards and in 30 minutes. So it was an unmemorable performance. And honestly, guys, when it comes to Shake Milton, I don't think he's it's obvious. I think it's obvious in the 6 games that we've seen thus far that he is not the future of the point guard position. And right now, you have to go with him because you don't have many other options. And do you want to take Alec Burke away from being that 6th man? He solidified that role. It's just unfortunate that Shake hasn't been able to play like he did before the shutdown. I haven't seen that Shake Milton before the shutdown thus far yet. And he was 4 for 12 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3 point line. Like it just there was nothing memorable and there's nothing crazy that Shake Milton's doing for you at the current moment. So, I mean, we'll see what he can do for us. Maybe he can turn it up in the playoffs, but I'm just not impressed what Shake Milton's giving us thus far, and especially the fact that you lose Ben Simmons, you lose Joel Embiid. I would expect him, and I would want him to just rise to the occasion. We haven't gotten that, guys. We have not gotten that whatsoever. Let's move on to the two guard. Alec Burks got another start there and another 20-point game for Mr. Alec Burks. That's now three straight games where he has scored 20 points or more. He finished the day with 2 boards and 4 assists as well. I'm continuously being impressed by Alec Burks. He's taking advantage of a moment here. This is something that I wish Shake Milton would do, but instead we're getting it from Alec Burks. And guys, there's so much he offers you on the offensive side of the basketball. Like he's great on the ball, right? He can create for others and he can also create for himself. I mean, obviously it's not the elite style of he's not Kyrie Irving out there, but he knows how to handle and manage and lead an offense, and he's great on the pick and roll too, which is huge there, especially with some of the big men that we have. So I think thus far, like I just said, I as much as I would love to see him actually be the starting point guard, I just think that it's more valuable having him coming off the bench as your sixth man, and I think that's what we're going to continue seeing happen. And you saw it at times too. Like him and Shake would switch off at times. He would run the offense, Shake would run the offense, but I think majority of the time we would see Alec Burks run the offense. But yeah, I think that he is your leading guard at the moment right now. I mean, unless Josh Richardson can continue dropping 30-point games, but that was just one performance. Alec Burks has been consistently good, and we remember that beginning of this tournament, Brett Brown wasn't giving him many minutes. He was giving Howell Nato more minutes, and now Alec Burks is getting his due, and he is making the most of it, guys. Move on to Matisse Thybulle, who would be that like wing. He would be that starting wing guy, right? He would end the game with 7 points. He had 2 boards and 1 block. And the thing is with Matisse, he's still. We talked about it plenty on my channel. He needs to continue developing that offensive game, which is going to come eventually. But defensively, he is an elite defender in the NBA, ladies and gentlemen. He gave fits to Devin Booker. That's why Devin Booker started off a little bit slow in this game. But then unfortunately, Matisse Thybulle got into foul trouble, and he needs to learn how to, he needs to learn how to play when you're getting into that foul trouble, guys. And once he got in that foul trouble, he couldn't defend Devin Booker as hard. And then Devin Booker just went off. Matisse had to leave the game for a little bit. And Devin Booker took advantage of it. But it's still overall, I was thoroughly happy with the performance by Matisse Thybulle. And he's going to be another key contributor coming off the bench for us going forward. All right, at the 4, we saw Mike Scott get a start here. His first start of the season for the Sixers. Mike Scott turned up, guys. Where was this Mike Scott here? 17 points, 4 boards, and an assist here. This was the Mike Scott from last year, and we did not see this Mike Scott at all this year, and I don't know what happened this year. A lot of people think it was a mental issues, and I agree. I think there was some mental issues with Mike Scott, and the reason why he wasn't performing to what we've seen from him in the past. But if he can give you something like he gave you in last season's playoffs, aka this performance right here, then guys, I feel good. I would definitely feel good if he can definitely get into that rotation as well. You guys know when you need that good defensive night, you need guys to step up defensively. You put Mike Scott in, and in the words of Mike Scott, he ain't no bitch. So he's gonna help and contribute for your ball team. So again, great performance by Mike Scott. We need to continue seeing this Mike Scott. And Mike Scott, I like them cornrows. Keep that up, bro. At center, guys, we saw Kyle O'Quinn getting his first start as in a Sixers uniform. Well, Kyle O'Quinn, like obviously he's getting up there in age. We haven't really seen a lot of him in the rotation and in playing a lot in overall in the season, right? You see Norvell Pell get more minutes over Kyle Quinn, but I think that Brett Brown wanted to go with Kyle's experience, right? He's got a lot of experience, and I guess he just wanted to put him in there as into the starting lineup. And yo, Kyle Quinn was literally 1 point away from getting a triple double. He gets a start, and this man's almost getting triple doubles here. 9 points, 10 boards, 11 assists. My man was dish. He literally he saved his best performance for this moment right here. It literally took up until Orlando to get this great performance with Kyle Quinn. And with Kyle Quinn too, it's like you didn't sign him right to be the backup center essentially. He is a veteran leader who can give you a solid couple of minutes if you need him, and he's a voice in that locker room. The guys in that locker room respect him, and if you really want a good look at what he is, what his value is to this locker room, just go over to Matisse Thybulle's YouTube channel. Just watch some of those vlogs. Him being vocal towards the team, it's really huge, and it's an underrated signing. You know, you see what he doesn't do on the court, but you don't see what he does off the court. And you hear Brett Brown talking highly of Kyle Quinn as well. So Kyle, could he possibly, after his performance, could he possibly played himself into getting a role in the playoffs? We will see. But damn, this performance came out of left field from Kyle Quinn. All right, let's talk about some of the other key performances. I think the biggest surprise of this game had to be Howell Nato. Someone who we've been coming down on hard all tournament long, not understanding why Brett Brown gave them all these minutes to Howell Nato when you saw Alec Burks balling in the little time that he was giving him, and Howell was getting more minutes than Alec Burks. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Howell Nato stepped out big and showed up into this tournament. He made his introduction to Orlando in this game here, getting 22 points with 2 boards, 7 assists in 25 minutes. So he was making the most of the minutes that he got here. Now, obviously, no Josh Richardson here, so that enticed Howell Nato to get him and put into the rotation there, and he showed up. Now, the question is, are we going to get this performance from Howell Nato again? I don't think so, but the thing was, he was a threat shooting the ball and driving to the paint. He tied his career high with 22 points, and where was this performance all tournament long? We need more of this. And Robinson III also had a solid game here too, and it sucks that he got hurt because it seemed like he played himself into the rotation going forward into this tournament. It seemed like he would be playing as that backup four, but unfortunately injuries happened, and luckily he got some playing time here in this game, and he took advantage of it with his 15 points, 7 boards in 25 minutes. So hopefully he can get some more minutes in the next game, and we will see what his role is going to be going forward, especially in the playoffs. Overall, even though the Sixers lost this game here, it sucks too that the Sixers lost this game here by 13 points, but overall, you have to be happy with the performance of this team. You're talking about missing 4 of your 5 starters, right? And yet this team still went the distance with a hot Phoenix Suns team with probably the second best player right now in the tournament in Devin Booker, right? And you saw I like Kyle O'Quinn have the performance of his season. You saw Mike Scott return back to the Mike Scott that we knew. You saw Matisse Thybulle showing off the defensive skill. Alec Burks continuing his hot streak. Howell Nato coming out of nowhere to have a monster performance. Glenn Robinson contributing. Even Furky got his 12 points here too. I mean, we need a little bit more from Furky. He wants to get back in our good grace. He needs to shoot more. He needs to shoot better than 28% from the field and 43% from three. It seems as if honestly, I know a lot of people were clowning this lineup, calling it it looks like a process lineup. Listen, call the process what you want. What I saw on the court watching the process years was a team that we knew didn't have the talent of the opposing side. But those guys fought. For whatever reason, Brett Brown knows how to get guys who are down and out at the bottom and get them to fight. I don't know what it is, but you see when Brett Brown has a freaking all-star, a quality lineup, they don't play up to their full capability. So I was really thoroughly pleased with what I saw here. It may have answered some questions as far as the rotation going forward. Maybe the rotation's not as weak as we thought it was. So that we some questions were answered here, guys. Most importantly, something that we have criticized the Sixers in this tournament, we saw some fight. We saw some great gritty Philly fight. All right, another thing I want to talk about real quick, guys, is this whole notion, and I've seen it through since I honestly have seen it since Ben Simmons went down hurt. This whole notion that Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid need to get separated, guys. When you have superstar quality players like Joel Embiid, like a Ben Simmons, you find a way to make it work. And it's not like we have not seen this work. We have seen this work. Now have they've gotten in each other's way? Yes. And have we seen Ben Simmons not, played his full capability? Yes, he needs to shoot the ball. We talked about that. Same thing with Joel Embiid. Has he played to his full capability? No, we've seen him being his own worst enemy, getting into his own head. No, I'm not on the bandwagon that you need to separate these two. I think that the blueprint of the Sixers team needs to be that 2017 team. When you saw Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid young playing together in their first year, making it to the playoffs, and then you saw guys like JJ Redick, Marco Bellinelli, Ersan Ilyasova. Those guys made it work, and I said that if you could just find three players that fit the role of JJ, Marco, and Ersan Ilyasova, who were athletic and could play a little bit of defense, that is a team that could go far. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to find that type of chemistry again, and that's the reason why you see the up and downs with the Sixers team. If you can find yourself three quality shooters to play with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, then I think that this team could work. But they haven't been able to find that. Even this year, you have Josh Rich and Tobias Harris, great shooters, but then you mix it with Al Horford, who can be an up and down shooter, right? Shake Milton, we've seen that he's an up and down shooter at this moment. So I think that the Sixers just need to find a way to build around these two star players. I don't think you need to separate the two. So I think that notion, guys, really needs to be put to rest because it's not going to happen. All right, guys. So the Sixers will be back at it today, 6:30. They were facing off against the Toronto Raptors. Literally just seconds before I started recording, it was announced that Joel Embiid will be playing tonight. So I guess we will see some of these starters back in there. Now, if it's up now, it depends on if they're ready or not. So is Toby ready to play? Is Josh Richardson and Al Horford ready to play? Again, don't rush it. You don't need to rush them back out there, but I think that you do need to give the starting lineup one more go around before we get into the playoffs, whether it be this game or the last game against Houston. So that should be interesting to see. Guys, that's all I got for you today. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts were in this game against the Phoenix Suns. What would your bench rotation look like? I want to know in the comments below. Let's talk about it. Also, let me know, guys, what you think. Do you think that the Sixers need to break up Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid? And then also let me know what you think is going to happen against the Toronto Raptors. Guys, thank you so much for watching. It really truly means the world to me. But please, it would mean the world if you could also like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button for notifications, as well as sharing this video and this channel to help continue the growth of your favorite parcero. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your boy El Parcero Philly, and I'm telling you guys to trust that damn process. Talk to you soon, guys.